Peace, love, and prosperity to all of humanity on planet Earth. I'm Abdul Agalodia Morse Parade in Monte, Georgia. We're here to finish up the WRC. This is part 3 of the Wazir Regional Convention, the read of the bylaws, so that we have an understanding and given full clarity and obviously, really, actually, full disclosure, public law as to what the convention is all about. What is its vision and mission? What is the goal? What are we seeking to accomplish here with the WRC? You know, there has been there's been questions out there. Is it a cult, or is it a dictatorship? Is it a monarchy? And you know, are you guys here to be the new colonists? You've heard all kinds. Man, I've heard so many things up to this point. It's ridiculous. And it's like, man, of all those concerns, can you have a positive one? Like, why it all got to be negative? You know, can you ask, well, are you guys here to help us out? Which people do that. There is positive as well. So let me not act as though it's only negative, because it is, in fact, quite a lot more positive than negative, actually. It's overwhelming, the support that the WRC received. So I shouldn't speak in that sense, but still, you still have those naysayers, and it's based in ignorance from not knowing what the convention is all about, which here real soon it will be available for all to be able to read at their leisure. But also, in the Telegram group, AMPAG Media Telegram group, as I was expressing earlier, we've been having some discussions based on confusion dealing with the whole American thing, right? The American identity of the people, the American identity of the soil, versus Moroccan. And I'm speaking about the Asiatics, the melanated people, the swarthy people, right? Dark-skinned people of the land that's been misnomered as America, which is actually Morocco. And also concerns and questions surrounding the several styles of the United States government, whether republic or not, whether the Congress and the Congress assembled or not, whether whatever style of the United States, there is no style of the United States that belongs to us as Moors. We are of the empire. You can't spell Morocco without Moors. You can't spell Moroccan without Moor. You know? So it's like we're suffering from psychosis. Prophet Noble Ali said that we cling on to principles that allude to slavery, and man, we do. We certainly do. Prophet Noble Ali said that we were descendants of Moroccans born in America. They just totally ignore the Moroccan part and just stand on the American. But we gotta be smart enough. Let me share the screen. We got to be smart enough and studied enough to recognize the difference between, to recognize that the Prophet himself knew that the land was Morocco. I mean, if I know that the land is Morocco, wouldn't the Prophet know that the land is Morocco? He said that it's the present Moroccan Empire. So then why would he say American? Well, he was alluding to something. Signs and symbols. He was speaking in codes. If he said that. Why would he know that the land is Morocco and call it America? Didn't he come to unveil all the secrets? Was he saying that we were born in American jurisdiction as naturalized citizens? When he said we was born in America? Oh, but let me not forget something. And I want Islam, if I'm correct, from anyone on the floor. Did Prophet Noble Ali not say that no man can change the descending nature of another unless his powers extend beyond the great God Allah?
Islam.
Islam.
I thought he said that. So I guess that doesn't apply to him then. No, it doesn't apply to Prophet Noble Ali. Prophet Noble Ali can change the descendant nature of your people. I guess his powers extend past the great God Allah. I'm being facetious. But why? Why am I saying that? Well, if he said that we were descendants of Moroccans born in America, then what gives him the authority to say, okay, well then, so since that's the case, you're no longer Moroccan, you're now Moorish Americans. Because essentially he changed our national identity. Did he not? Yes or no, more? Yes or no, Moors? Question for the floor. Would that not be considered changing your nationality? Is it Moroccan or Moorish American?
Yes, that'll be considered changing your nationality because those are two separate things.
I would think so. Descendants of Moroccans born in America, why are you Moorish American? So he's saying why you're Moorish American. So he's telling you that you're Moorish American, right? And then the answer to that is because you're descendants of Moroccans, but born in America. So you just changed my nationality. Because Moroccan and Moorish American is not the same thing. However, in question 31, he says, what is the modern name of the Moabites? He said Moroccans. Chapter 47 of the Holy Quran said that the Moabites are the true possessors and the true founders and true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. So I'll ask again. If a French poodle was born in China, would he become a Chinese poodle? Or would he still be a French poodle?
He'll be a French poodle.
Wherever he goes, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. I apologize. Wherever he goes on planet Earth, he would be a French poodle. If he was born in Nigeria, he would still be a French poodle. So why does our nationality change because we was born in America? Why are we so special? No, what he was saying is that you was naturalized in American jurisdiction, but you're a Moroccan who lost your nationality and became Americanized. He told you that in 1913. Today in 2023, we're still Americanized. We won't let go of the 1828 Webster's Dictionary. We won't let go of the other dialectical forms of saying America, Moroccan and all this other stuff. Al-Moroccan. By the way, you don't see the term Al-Moroccan nowhere in the treaties. So you can omit the term Al, because the only thing that you see is Moroccan. It's not the Al-Moroccan Empire. It's the Moroccan Empire. It's not the empire of Al-Morocco. It's the empire of Morocco. It's not Al-Morocco of the farthest west. It's Morocco of the farthest west. Islam, period. Okay, so let's go to right here, my favorite document. What word do you see highlighted?
American litigation.
American litigation. Why do I have that highlighted? And why did I go to my favorite document, which is the expatriation document? Where is the American legation located? It's on the document. Help y'all out.
In Morocco.
Morocco.
Yeah. Specifically, Tangier is the answer I was looking for. Tangier, Morocco. I don't know if you guys remember, but let me ask you guys. What was present in Tangier that all these foreign countries, Christian powers, had a diplomatic mission. What was it called? You'll see it all throughout all the treaties, the Moorish treaties, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the Treaty of Madrid, Act of Algeciras, the diplomatic body.
That has to be the main thing. I gotta get the data. Can you pass that question, please? The one in the container.
I got to compare the diplomatic body, right? Okay, right. Now, Mr. Philip Chargé d'Affaires, right, was a diplomat on a mission from the United States of America to Tangiers, the American legation in Tangiers. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the Treaty of Madrid, the Act of Algeciras had 12 signatory powers, did it not? Russia, Sweden, Germany, we've been through this before. So just the same way you have an American legation, you have a German legation, you have a Russian legation. They all had a diplomatic mission in Tangiers because they all reside in Morocco, the empire. So it's not just the United States of America that's in Morocco. It's Germany, Russia, etc. All the several states that belongs to the Sultan. So that was a military, or should I say diplomatic post, where they all gathered and where they signed treaties, negotiated other agreements and foreign policy and things of that nature. It's a diplomatic body. Okay. So Mr. Philip and Mr. Root, Secretary of State, are in this document, the expatriation document, specifically this section, which is legislation, by the way, we're discussing the Moroccan nationality. So you had two Americans talking about Moroccan nationality. So then you come down here. So remember that it's a diplomatic mission that Hoffman Phillip is on, which means he's being briefed, right? He's doing some forms of negotiations, etc., with the Sultan and the Moxin, the Moorish royal government, on behalf of the Sultan in Tangiers. The Sultan also had his own chargé d'affaires, or Minister of Foreign Affairs, ambassadors, plenipotentiaries. These are the terms. These are the terms. There are, strictly speaking, no Moroccan laws relating to the citizenship of Moorish subjects in Morocco. So the Americans that reside in the American legation, which is situated inside of Morocco, are talking to each other about Moroccan laws, Moorish subjects in Morocco. I mean, did y'all catch what I just said? There's two in today's, let's say it this way. In the Negro, or the black and white mind, let's say it that way. In the black and white mind, the black and white ignorant mind of national identity, they would say that Hoffman Phillip and Mr. Root, Secretary of State, are white people, and the Moorish subjects are black people. So white people are talking about black people. But what is the correct? That's connotative. White people talking about black people. connotative. Denotatively, the proper understanding of the national identity of these two parties would be the Americans talking about the Moors or the Moroccans who lost their nationality. Okay? Then he tells you how. Citizenship in Morocco, we've already been through this, may be said to be governed by the laws pertaining to the same in other countries, with the exception that all persons residing in Morocco who cannot prove, that's not it, let me go back, but that's it too, but that's not what I was getting at. Right here, 2 and 3, Moorish subjects lost their nationality. So the American charge d'affaires who had a diplomatic mission in Tangier at the American legation was reporting to the Secretary of State, the other American, Elihu Root, reporting to him about what's being discussed at the diplomatic body, which is essentially the headquarters of the Moroccan Empire. So he's coming back, well, whether he came back home or through written correspondence, he's reporting back to Elihu Root about what happened to these people. Moorish subjects lost their nationality only by becoming naturalized. All the Moors know that we've been naturalized. This is too easy. Moorish subjects lost their nationality only by becoming naturalized in or protected by who? Another country having treaty relations with who? The Moorish Empire. Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Treaty of Madrid, Act of Algeciras, etc. So it's the Americans talking to each other through legislation about Black people. Because, okay, who else are who's the other party? So how can we be American? How do we become, how are we American? Did we require an American legation? In the
Point of interest.
Go ahead, brother. Islam, Akil, Wazir.
Islam. I just wanted to breathe on the point that what you said about naturalization, being naturalized in America. I took a picture of a Google, a quick Google search that I did the other day, and it says being naturalized is when you were born an alien of the United States. So basically, born being synonymous with naturalized. So when Prophet Noble Drew Ali said we were born in America, if we can just replace that word, it's, you know, we know that there's been a lot of words and things changed in his works. So if we just change that word, we're an alien to the United States outside of the United States. And it goes on to say, but you have legally become a citizen of the United States. Naturalization is the legal process whereby a lawful permanent resident is granted United States citizenship. So, you know, there's a whole, you know, that's a whole world in itself, you know, Dred Scott and all that. But nonetheless, born being naturalized with, or synonymous with naturalized. I yield with that.
Excellent point of interest, brother. I appreciate it. This is the Act of Algeciras. We're looking at Article 15. And it says, and by the way, this is the French and English version. There's only 2 languages in international law that are utilized in international law. Any and all documents that come from your court or whatever must be in 1 or 2 languages, English and French, period. These rules are set forth in the, Article 15 says, arms, parts of guns, ammunition intended for the troops of His Sharifian Majesty will be admitted after the fulfillment of the following formalities. So now that I've explained the concept surrounding the diplomatic body and the legations, the several legations for all the Christian powers that are under agreement with Morocco. Somebody got to mute their mics, please. This is going to make this article here is going to make more sense. Okay, following formalities, fulfillment of the following formalities. A declaration signed by the Moorish Minister of War. So on the left is the French version. It says Ministre de la Guerre Moroccan. Ministre, which is minister, de la of the, it's kind of like Spanish. Guerre, war. Because in Spanish, guerre means guerra, right? Moroccan. Over here it says Moorish Minister of War. This one says Moroccan Minister of War. Just wanted to point that out. Just wanted to point that out real quick. Okay, that's not the reason why I'm here. Just wanted to point that out real quick while we were at it. So, a declaration signed by the Moorish Minister of War describing the number and nature of such articles ordered abroad must be presented to the legation of the country of their origin, whose visa shall be affixed thereto. Which country? I don't know. Choose one of the 12 signatory powers. Either one of them are obligated to this article. It could have been Russia, it could have been Germany, it could have been China. Well, not China, I don't think China was. Austria, Hungary, Great Britain, United States of America. So if it was the United States of America, it would be the American legation. If it was Germany, then it would be the German legation. If it was Great Britain, it would be the British legation. So what this is saying, this is chapter 2, talking about the control of the guns and the arms of war. A declaration signed by the Moorish Minister of War is telling you that the Moorish Minister of War must sign a declaration. So that means that we have the authority over the guns. So one party is the Moorish Minister of War. The other party is any country at the legation, which one of them is the Americans. So one group are the Moors, the other group are the Americans, and the Moors have authority over the Americans. The Americans have a diplomatic post as a sending state in Morocco, as the receiving state, as the host nation, Moors. America is in Morocco, and America is the sending state. And Morocco is the receiving state or the host nation. Same for Germany, Great Britain, etc. So such articles ordered abroad must be presented to the legation of the country. So if it's coming from Germany, then it's got to be presented to the German legation. If it's coming from Russia, then it's got to be presented to the Russian legation. So on and so forth. We're not Americans. I'm not finished. Okay, just wanted to make that point clear real quick. Let's move on to other reference points. This one right here. This is the Smithsonian magazine, right? Why a 200-year building in Morocco is the only national historic landmark outside the US. The structure in the port city of Tangier, because that's where the diplomatic body was in Morocco, during the time of the empire. This is pre-1956. And we're about to find out exactly what year as I continue on with this reference point. Okay, that's what it looked like. This is what the American legation looked like in Morocco. This is where the Americans resided. That was their consulate, their embassy. But at the time, it was called the legation. Nice, isn't it? Well, it was a gift. Let's find out how. Morocco may seem like a strange place for U.S. National Historic Site. I feel that that's too small. Let me try to increase it. This is not increasing. Am I doing it wrong? I need my mouse. I'm not using my mouse right now. Okay, I'll just read it real quick because I'm not going too deep into this article anyway. Morocco may seem like a strange place for a U.S. National Historic Site, the only one in a foreign country, but the North African nation may very well be the United States' oldest friend. You see the misinformation? But the North African nation, so they're referring to Morocco of Northwest Africa within Africa, which is the kingdom. That's not who the United States signed a treaty with, was it? Okay. However, let's continue. In 1777, various European powers debated whether or not to intervene in the American War for Independence, right? Various European powers debated whether or not to intervene in the American War for Independence. The Moroccan Sultan, Mulai Mohammed bin Abdallah, issued a proclamation recognizing U.S. independence from Britain. So Morocco recognized the United States of America's independence from Great Britain, making this nation the first country to do so. The Sultan decree welcomed American Moors, please. We're not American on no level. The same way you would tell Black people that they're not Black, same exact concept back to you. You're not American. They're not Black, you're not American. How you like them apples? It is a identity crisis. Issued a proclamation recognizing U.S. independence. Oh, back over here. Yeah, the Sultan's decree welcomed American ships to come and traffic freely. The Sultan's, excuse me, the Sultan's decree welcomed American ships to come and traffic freely. Where? In Moroccan ports. They were allowed, the Sultan allowed the American ships to come through Moroccan ports. His hope was to increase maritime trade. Whose hope? The Sultan of Morocco was hoping to increase maritime trade and customs revenue, and saw the new nation. What new nation? The United States of America. The Americans as a potential trading partner. Compared to France, Britain, and Spain, the US, once established, this is where you get your most favored nation clause from. The United States wanted to have the same, wanted to be on the same level as France, Britain, and Spain, because they already had agreements with Morocco. The U.S., once established, had relatively few interests in Morocco, yet its location on a critical trade route, the Atlantic Ocean, through the Strait of Gibraltar, and the challenge of Barbary pirates in the vicinity made a more official presence for the American necessary. Barbary pirates, the challenge of the Barbary pirates, what challenge? They were seizing their ships on the Atlantic Ocean. Who are the Barbary pirates? The Moors. this is what you want me to say. Established 200 years ago on May 17, 1821. The Tangier American Legation is a rambling mansion that spans two sides of the Rue d'Amérique, whatever, in the southern corner of the Medina or Old Walled city of Tangier, which at the time was Morocco's diplomatic capital. So America established their American legation in 1821 in Tangier at the diplomatic capital. So while the Americans were doing that, where were the Moors? Who were the Moors? Because clearly, if the Americans are doing that, the Moors aren't part of that process, which then means we're not American. Who are we then, right? If we're not Moroccans, and we obviously couldn't be Moorish Americans. One side was the Moorish peoples, the other side was the American. Americans. A gift from the Moroccan Sultan to the U.S. government in 1821. The structure has over the years been a diplomatic residence, a working consulate, a Peace Corps training center, an espionage headquarters, a museum, a research library, and a community center. Gifted by the Sultan in 1821. Moving on from here, because we got to get back to the reading. So what do I have here? The U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Morocco. Do y'all see that? Okay. Who is this? Chargé d'Affaires David Green celebrates 200th anniversary of American legation in Tangier. You got to choose between the entire submission, Moors. And it starts in the mind. It first starts in the mind. Either you're going to be American or you're going to be Moroccan, but you can't be both. And to help you with that decision, you're not American. So you got a Chargé d'Affaires here, and you got a Chargé d'Affaires here, which his name here, right, was Hoffman Phillip. Slide it over. Mr. Phillip. Chargé d'Affaires. At where? The American legation, except this was in 1906, whereas this one here is in what? 2021, I believe it was? Okay. Tangier, May 17, 2021. 200 years today, the American legation in Tangier became an official U.S. diplomatic mission when U.S. Consul John Molwani moved into the building. The legation was a gift from Moroccan Sultan Moulay Suleiman earlier in 1821. We just read that from the Smithsonian, and now we're at where are we again? U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Morocco. This is an official website. It was the site of many significant events in American, Moroccan, and world history. Two different groups, two different nations, two different people. It was the site of many significant events in American, Moroccan, and world history. So how can you be Moorish American? Unless you have been naturalized, meaning that you are a Moor who is under American jurisdiction, therefore Moorish American. Well, then you can't say that they don't have jurisdiction over you because it's in your nationality. Who you think Italian Americans fall on? What jurisdiction you think they fall under? They have naturalized. They're no longer under Italian law. They're now under American law. Hence, Italian American, Korean American, any whatever American, African American. American is the last term in that nationality, which means it has the dominant authority over the person as a naturalized person, whether you naturalized by consent or against your will and consent. And the only people that was naturalized against their will and consent were the Moors. There was a speedy Americanization. So we can't be Moorish Americans unless, I mean, you can be Moorish Americans if you want to be, but then you can't say that you're not an American citizen because you're saying that you're an American. You can't say that you're not a U.S. citizen because you're saying that you're an American. You cannot say that they don't have jurisdiction over you because you're saying that you're an American. That's the problem. And you're trying to say that the government belongs to you. Well, no, we just proved here, or proven here, that the Americans, the United States of America, the United States, in whatever style it is situated. Somebody ought to mute their mics. They're situated in Morocco at the diplomatic body. Where was I? I lost my train of thought now. So it was a site of many significant events in American, Moroccan, and world history. These include negotiation of the Spartel Lighthouse Treaty, one of the first international conventions signed by the United States, as well as agreements with Morocco to facilitate shipping and trade. During World War II, the legation served as planning headquarters for Allied operations in North Africa and was also used by the U.S. Office of Special Services to break Nazi codes. One of the two first U.S. diplomatic missions to receive Marine Security Guard detachments, the legation was well known as the Medina for always having a U.S. Marine standing sentry outside its entryway. All right, not going to read all this either. Well, I could. Actually, I should. I did read it already anyway. In an event at the legation today, which included a presentation of the colors by U.S. Embassy Marines David Green, Chargé d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy said, the Moroccan Sultan Moulay Silmain gave this magnificent building to the U.S. government in 1821. And it was, so the Moroccan Sultan gave that building to the U.S. government that belonged to the Moors. It's okay to laugh because it sounds silly, don't it? The Moors already had an empire. Why are we claiming the United States when we got a whole empire? That's the part that gets me. Why are we claiming the United States in any style? Major, minor, republic, non-republic, whatever. When the empire is yours and the United States is subordinate to the empire. Why even attempt to argue that fact and give pushback for that? Wouldn't you feel more empowered to know that you are of the empire? Like, I mean, this is how deep rooted and ridiculous the indoctrination has been. And it was exactly 200 years ago today when U.S. Consul John Maloney moved into the building and the legation became an official diplomatic mission. I would like to thank the Majesty, His Majesty, now check this out. I would like to thank His Majesty the King Mohammed VI for his ancestors. Look at what he said, and for his ancestors' generosity, just as we honor the king today for his wise leadership. Oh yeah? Stop it. So who are his ancestors? It was the sultans. Under what government? The empire, not the kingdom. So you're over here honoring the king of a kingdom who has nothing to do with the empire. You see the trickery? It's funny too when you these colonists do the most to try to hold on to this power. And when you recognize it based on understanding these reference points in international law, etc., it's actually hilarious. The American legation served as a U.S. diplomatic mission from 1821 until the 1960s, when it became a diplomatic language school and then a Peace Corps training center. Since the 1970s, it has been operated as a museum, cultural center, blah, 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 because it's not needed anymore, because the empire is no longer in existence. Since when? 1956. This is how easy it is to point out, or should I say, prove that we're not Americans. And we're obviously not British either. Excuse me, y'all. I got this cold. I'm kicking my butt. It's been kicking me all week. So we know that the United States was established by British. And then we also know that the United States is in Morocco. And it's separate from Morocco as Americans. So you're not British or American. The United States is not yours. And the land is not America. So what took place? All right. The Wazir Akil alluded to it. First, let's look at a definition. Did I lose it? Well, we'll touch that, but let me go back. This is what I was chuckling at earlier before we came on. Somebody marked my screen too, by the way, with that red ink. Just a basic, just right there. I mean, just without even going anywhere else further. You see, I backed out because I went further, but I backed out because I just wanted to go to this basic. Somebody please mute your mics. Look what it says here for Americanization. The action of making a person or thing American in character or nationality. And look how they had the nerve to underline nationality. That's what Americanization is. The action of making a person or thing American in character or nationality. What does it say here? Where was I? I think it was the Library of Congress. No, it was encyclopedia here. Right here. Americanization in the early 20th century, activities that were designated to prepare foreign-born residents of the United States. We were foreign to the United States. We were foreign to the American jurisdiction, right? Of the United States for full participation in citizenship. So let's read it again. Americanization in the early 20th century, activities that were designed to prepare foreign-born residents of the United States for full participation in citizenship. It aimed not only at the achievement of naturalization, but also at an understanding of and commitment to principles of American life and work. So when people say, you've been, no, you ain't been westernized, that's a misnomer. Because the West is, but what did happen is you was Americanized. That's the denotative linguistic term. Connotatively, you'll say westernized, no, but it's Americanized, i.e., your mind has been colonized. The Moorish American mind has been colonized. The Black people's minds have been colonized to believe that they're Americans, whether it be Black American, African American, or Moorish American. Different levels of American, but you have been Americanized. Your mind has been colonized. It's time now to break that mold. Well, what else helped with that? Resolution 70. I think we're good. All right. Resolution 75, 1933, legislation by Philadelphia. Okay. So what does it say? We already know. I'm not going to read the very top. We already know what Mr. Whitkin said. The resolution was read by the clerk as follows. In the House of Representatives, April 17, 1933, many sons and daughters of that proud and handsome race, which inspired the architecture of North Africa and carried into Spain the influence of its artistic temperaments, have been citizens of this nation. Where did I lose it? Right here, right? Citizenship. So what does it say here? Activities that were designed to prepare foreign-born residents of the United States for full participation in citizenship. It aimed not only at the achievement of naturalization, so it aimed at naturalization, but not only through that procedure or that process. Somebody please mute your mics. Somebody please mute your mics. I think that's Ronnie Fedrick. Please, brother. I would appreciate it if you did, good brother. Where was I? Okay. Became citizens of this nation. In the city of Philadelphia, there exists a Moorish American, right? Colonized Moors who have been Americanized. Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here the end of their quest for a home. And of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. So they told you that you're Moroccan, right there. What you want me to say, Morris? Why do we keep arguing the fact or the lies that we're American? They told you right there. Oh my God, my people perish from a lack of knowledge and understanding and the ability to read properly and not just pronounce words, but understand what it is that you're reading. Let's read that again. In the city of Philadelphia, there exists a Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here, where is here? American jurisdiction, the end of their quest for a home because they've been stateless. And of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. So we came from Morocco. So if we came from Morocco, that makes us what? Moroccans. Question 31 of the 101s. What is the modern name of the Moabites? Answer, Moroccans. Nothing more, nothing less, plain, dry and simple, just straight like that. Straight no chaser, Moroccans. This society has done much to bring about a thorough absorption by these people of those principles which are necessary to make them good American citizens. This is what Prophet Noble Jali talking about. You have been made good American citizens by that society. What society? The Moorish American Society of Philadelphia. The sellout, the infiltration. That's why I can speak against the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia freely without any reservations. Because their name appears in legislation as the culprits. You see, that's the documentary evidence that you have sold us out. Everyone else, I can only speak on that privately. Not to implicate myself, right, with some sort of a slander because I don't know for sure. There's no activity, there's no evidence. Oh, but the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia, they're in legislation, and that's the evidence. So I can freely speak about them as what? Sellouts. Period. These Moorish Americans have since being here, missed the use of the titles and name annexations that were so familiar at home and which are used in accordance with the doctrines of the religious faith, right? So now they put us into religion when we're supposed to be going into the constitutional fold of government. This document brought us into the religious form of not even government, but indoctrination is what it is, right? To which they are adherents thereto, or therefore, be it resolved that this house commends the Moorish American Society. So resolved that this house, what house? Okay, the House of Representatives, right, of Philadelphia. Resolved, so it's been resolved, y'all. This was in 1933, 5 years after the prophet was assassinated. It's been resolved. Well, how do we know that? 2023. Moors can't let go of the American thing. It's been resolved. They can't let go of it. Oh, what the prophet said. Okay, yeah, well, the prophet also said not to worship him. The prophet did say that. You do know that. You do realize that Prophet Noble Jew Ali said, don't worship him. Study, study, study. Don't worship me. Carry on my laws. So you know good. So a lot of Moors know that the temple has been infiltrated, and yet they don't operate without what the prophet said. Okay, well, how do you know the prophet said that if you know that the temple was infiltrated? How do you, what's your what are you talking about? How do you identify that he actually said that or did not? Because I can identify certain things that he said and that he did not say, based on international law and understanding treaty law. It's not that hard. So it was resolved that this house commends who? The Moorish American Society of Philadelphia for the efficient service it has rendered the nation. What nation? The United States. So they served the United States. It's right there. They sold out to the United States. They said it right there. They said it right there. So they have been they're commending the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia for the efficient service it has rendered the nation in bringing about a speedy and thorough Americanization of these former Moors. Because they're no longer Moors. What are they now? Americans. You see? You see? We've been brought out of our true nationality into a slave label of American that does not belong to us or apply to us. We're not citizens of the nation or nothing like that. We're Moroccans, right? We're Moors. And that accordance with the fullest right of religious independence. So now we're talking, here we go again with this religion thing. Why is always religion applied to us and never government? Why are we part of every religion? We're Christians, we're Muslims, we're Jews, we're this, we're that, we're the third. Buddhists, Scientologists, but no governments. We got a bunch of temples, we got a bunch of churches everywhere, but no government in sight. And that's changed today. So this is the end of my, my rant, my American, or should I say, my not American rant. And by the way, Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15, Paragraph 1, is to do the opposite of Americanization. It's to do the opposite of what this document talks about. It's to do the exact opposite and go back against what the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia did, which was Americanization, which means we got to do what? We got to go back and perform what if that's the case, the term that I would use is Moroccanization. We got to repatriate, right? We got to go back to Morocco. We're gonna go move on now to the WRC, but as a perfect segue, we got two Moroccan states who have chosen to do exactly that, Moroccanize themselves, right? And come out of American jurisdiction. They chose between entire submission to the laws of the empire. While we're at it, so this same guy, Hoffman Phillip, talking to Secretary Root, right? Mr. Root, he reaffirmed. So again, he's briefing the Secretary of State from what was learned at the diplomatic body in Tangiers at the American legation. So he says, Moorish subjects lost their nationality only by becoming naturalized in or protected by another country having treaty relations with the Moorish Empire. It was established by the Convention of Madrid, concluded July 3rd, 1880, as follows. Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country and who shall return to Morocco shall, after having remained for a length of time equal to that which shall have been regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization, choose between entire submission to the laws of the empire and the obligations to quit Morocco, unless it shall be proved that his naturalization in a foreign country, like, come on. Oh, Lord, all I can do is just laugh, man. Like, it's spelled out, Morris. Why do we have a problem with understanding this? His naturalization in a foreign country was obtained with the consent of the government of Morocco. Now, if you don't do that, foreign naturalization heretofore acquired by subjects of Morocco according to the rules established by the laws of each country shall be continued to them as regards all its effects without any restrictions. So go ahead, boo, be American. Go ahead, enjoy it. Tell me about it. Because their laws will apply to you without any restriction. This is why somebody said something. This is why when people say accepting for example, accepting residency and saying that you're a resident versus being versus domiciling, resident versus domicile. Resident means that you're taking a jurisdiction, and domicile means that you're not. Stop it. Stop it, Morris, please. That's sad. When you understand the real deal behind jurisdiction, that sounds childlike. Very childlike for you to say that a word changes your status and changes your jurisdiction. The use of a word. So no, Your Honor, I don't reside in Florida, in the state of Florida. I domicile in Florida Republic. Like, Morris, come on, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed. First of all, where do you see any legislation by the United States that says that Florida is a republic, or California, or any of these states? They're states ofs. It's the state of Florida. It's the state of California. It's the state of Georgia. It's not the republic. And that republic, even if it was, still doesn't belong to you more. And changing words or using a different word, playing this semantic word game, is not changing your status, and therefore it's not changing your jurisdiction or the jurisdiction that you fall under. Why? Because it's based in paragraph 2 of this exact treaty. Foreign naturalization heretofore acquired by subjects of Morocco according to the rules established by the laws of each country shall be continued to them as regards all its effects without any restrictions, because you are an American. Ain't got nothing to do with what word you use or what word you didn't use. I don't care if you say vehicle, car, or conveyance. You're still under the jurisdiction if you haven't chosen between entire submission. You're still a Moorish subject. You are an American citizen. We got to get competent and in a quick fast and in a hurry, a quick fast and in a hurry, ASAP. Yesterday, you got to get out of this incompetent, childlike mindset. That's why they call us minorities. I don't reside here. I don't domicile there. So therefore, you don't have no jurisdiction over me. Really? And by the way, I'm a Moorish American, and you ain't got no. This is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. So they're concerned. How do we know that they're concerned? I will get to the WRC. Give me a second. Because he said, the above ruling has never yet been acted upon. And should this at any time be contemplated seriously? It hasn't been contemplated seriously up until now. The above ruling has never yet been acted upon. We have not acted upon that above ruling. It was a ruling by the Sultan for us to come back to Morocco. That wasn't like a request. It was a ruling. It was a demand. It's law. The supreme law of the land, for crying out loud. And should this at any time be contemplated seriously, a large number of naturalized people. Who are those naturalized people that he's talking about? The Moors. American and others residing in Morocco will be affected thereby. What you think is going to happen now that all these states came online? Perfect segue. So I've got Wazir Hano from Serum, Sakaru State Republic of Ante, North Carolina. And we also have the Kazi Ras Bey for Anu Manahata, Palladium Ante, New York. Ampani. They both completed their public inauguration. Brother Raz, is your Wazir online, please?
1 second, brother.
Brother Wazir, I say Wazir Hano Bey, brother.
Islam, I am here.
Islam, good brother. I'm gonna yield the floor to you to speak briefly on your state and your public inauguration, etc. Islam, I yield.
Islam, thanks for the floor. This is Aziz Hano Bey from Serum, Skarou State Republic of Morocco. Our Independence Day is 5/13/2023. I'd like to say publicly thank all the officers that actually participated in the actual inauguration, and thank our Sierra publicly for assisting, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and our Chief Judge, Kazi Yisrael Bey, for assisting in the process. And I'd like to also thank publicly Wazir Abdul and also the Kazi from AMPAG, J. Jermaine Bey, for these classes that he's held, all 105 classes. And thank all the Moors who are on the line, who are listening in and learning about statehood. It's very important. And any other states that's looking at coming on, I would like to say, please just use just speed in getting this thing done, because the sooner we can get these states up and running the right way, we can actually decolonize the Empire of Morocco. So I yield the floor. That's all I got.
Islam Wazir, I appreciate that so much, and thanks for your 100-hour AMPAG study session campaigns on YouTube. That's on Facebook. It's
Absolutely.
an excellent promotion. You're doing an excellent job, brother, and we look forward to recognizing you, understanding that you got to go. You got to go through the process of completing certain phases of as fast. But I'm certain that you will complete those tasks, and once that's complete, we can't wait to go forward with your recognition, brother, and bringing you into the WRC. So Islam, I yield with that. So now I yield to Ampani, whatever representative want to speak on behalf of the state, preferably the Wazir.
Islam, brother. Yeah. Awazia Reyes, she was currently, had to take care of something. So she wasn't able to attend. But we do have rest of the body here. But I just wanna, just give gratitude, on behalf of Anthony. First I would like to give gratitude to you, brother. Abdul, being a gracious host, being a gracious mentor to us as far as, bringing forth the erudition in, what they say, international laws and full understanding. I would also like to give thanks to Brother Jermaine Bay, as far as his classes and how he's, bringing it to the erudition to the family on behalf of international law and, showing it on a different side, what we've all accustomed to, and I definitely hear you stressing it. And I truly want to give honor to, brother Hawk, sister Amara, brother Nasik, all of these other brothers and sisters that, gradually encourage us and was a part of, creating Ampany. So, much honors, gratitude goes out to those kindred. And we're just here to, like I said, do what we got to do. We understand that our obligation from Ampany is service to the people. So, we are gracious in that, what they say, the ability to even take on these tasks. So, and honor to everyone else that's coming on board or being a part of what we're doing here with the regional council and the states collectively. Peace and love, and I yield with that.
Islam, good brother, I appreciate the kind words. And I thank you all for your discipline and perseverance to getting it done. So it took some time, but it happens when it's supposed to happen, right? And it's just all-time release. This is the clock of destiny ticking away, ticking away at decolonization. So welcome on board, brother. As I told the good brother, as you understand, you got to go through certain processes to gain the recognition. But as soon as you guys complete those processes, the recognition is on the table. To include bringing you onto the WRC as member states. We also have a few others that's working on their constitution. Florida Republic. Oh shit! Look at what I said. I just said Florida Republic.
Can I also give a special mention to Sister Nova? I mean, that sister has definitely assisted us and enlightened us. I mean, that is wonderful, sister. So, special gratitude also goes out to that matriarch and all of the matriarchs, because without y'all, this wouldn't be possible. So first gratitude to y'all, matriarchs, mothers, sisters, gratitude.
Islam. Yeah. Can't forget Nova Elu El. She's working really hard to assist the states, and she's doing an excellent job with that. And so like I was saying, Ante Florida, they're coming online pretty soon. Oh, and by the way, New York, you done shook it up a little bit because took over the territory where the United Nations is housed. So that's excellent. Obviously, California, they got a nice seal. We just talked about it prior to the call, but prior to me pressing record, the Sister Nasara Ill, nice seal you guys got put together there. We can't help but to we can't wait to help you come online and establish your states. Sister Nova, I'll put you in contact with her as well. We had a brief discussion with Ontario, so they're looking to come online as well at some point in time, sometime soon. So Canada's in the house, Canaan land, right? Somebody's gonna be upset about this one, huh? There's a particular VHS scholar.
Peace.
It's not, somebody is not gonna like that too much. Oh my God, they're spreading over into Canaan land. Yes, we are. We're crossing over borders as the power of Moroccan law and the Moroccan identity but more so really in particular, our Moorish treaties. That's the power of the Moorish treaties. Islam. So now let's move on to the read for the WRC so we can complete this. And obviously I took so much time with this American thing, but I thought that I needed to, because in the past couple of weeks that I didn't have the class, I've been hearing all this stuff about American, we're American, and all these different ways to try to justify it, to include the corruption of the term, meaning that Al-Moroccan is American, and it's not. It's just not. I just proved it. America is America, and Moroccan is Moroccan, or Al-Moroccan, or however you want to say it. It's not a corruption. Well, it could be a corruption. You might say it's a corruption. Maybe they took the term Al-Moroccan, because that is a term that exists. It may not necessarily be in the treaties, but Al-Moroccan is a thing. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that it's not in the treaties. However, perhaps they said, okay, well, what are we gonna be? I'm not really sure. Let's figure this out. So Al-Moroccan, how about we just say American? Okay, maybe that's what it is, but it still doesn't make it that. You know, if it's a corruption, then why go with the corruption? Why not go with the original, the correct term? So anyway, back to the WRC. So I've already spent enough time with that. It's not the first time. We've talked about it before. I just figured I'll do it again and come with some different reference points, even though I have used some of the same reference points. I brought newer reference points to the table to try to make that point clear, to get the Moors outside of this cognitive dissonance that we're suffering from. And the only way to do so is with the strong reference points. And if these reference points aren't strong enough, then, you know, it's just not your time. So we left off on chapter 7 of the WRC bylaws and convention, action with respect to threats to the peace, breaches of the peace, the acts of aggression. And we left off on Article 48. Do I have a reader that can begin to read for me, please, for the next, what time is it? Next hour and a half or so? Perhaps hour. We're on Article 48, if someone would like to assist me in the read.
Islam.
Islam, I appreciate it.
Article 48. The action required to carry out the decisions of the Security Council of Defense for the maintenance of regional and international peace and security shall be taken by all the member states in cooperation with the United States of Morocco, treaty organization, or by some of them as they may freely determine. 2. Such decisions shall be carried out by the member states of the convention as a natural corollary with the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization directly and through their action in the appropriate regional and international agencies of which they are members.
Continue.
Article 49. The member states of the Wazir Regional Council, in conformity with the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization, shall join in affording mutual assistance in carrying out the measures decided upon by the Wazir Regional Council and the Security Council of Defense. Article 50. If preventative or enforcement measures against any state are taken by the Wazir Regional Council, whether a member state of the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization or not, which finds itself confronted with special economic problems arising from the carrying out of those measures, shall have the right to consult the Security Council of Defense regarding a solution of those problems.
Keep in mind that this document is not written in the present. It's actually written in the future, right? In future tense, if you will. So everything is projected into the future. So there's going to be certain things that you would read that is not germane for the current condition or the current landscape of, or the current progress, I should say, of our Moroccan state movement. But trust and believe, obviously, we're not doing this for nothing, so we will get there eventually. And so it's already in writing, right, in advance. Continue, sister. Article 51.
Article 51. Nothing in the present convention shall impair the inherent right of individual or collective immediate self-defense if an armed attack occurs against a member state of the convention or the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization. Measures taken by any member state in the exercise of this right of immediate self-defense shall be immediately reported to the Wazir Regional Council and the Security Council of Defense, and shall not in any way affect the authority and responsibility of the Wazir Regional Council or the Security Council of Defense, in harmony with the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization. Under the present convention, to take any time such actions as it deems necessary in order to maintain or restore regional and international peace and security. The United Nations Charter provisions on self-defense shall be observed in the exercise of countermeasures.
So we're already covering the self-defense of our states, even in the act of use of force or act of war. But obviously, again, like I said, we're not there yet, right? So we got to cover our bases going into the future. Continue. Chapter 3, or should I say, was that 8?
Chapter 8, Regional Arrangement, Article 52, Section 1. Nothing in the present convention, the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization, or the Charter of the United Nations precludes the existence of regional arrangements or agencies for dealing with such matters relating to the maintenance of regional or international peace and security as appropriate for regional action, provided that such arrangements or agencies and their activities are consistent with the purpose and principles of the United Nations. 2, the member states of the convention and the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization entering such arrangements or constituting such agencies shall make every effort to achieve pacific settlement of local disputes through such regional arrangements or by such agencies or by such regional agencies before referring them to the United Nations General Assembly, the Security Council, and its committees. 3,
So this is how we're going to settle disputes. This is dealing with any disputes between either one of our states, right? Because, you know, in the event that there's a dispute between, let's say, Ampani and AMPAG, for example, right? These are the measures under which it will be handled. Continue, sister, Article 3 or Section 3.
3, the member states of the convention and of the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization shall encourage the development of the pacific settlement of local disputes through such regional arrangements or by such regional agencies, either on the initiative of the states concerned or by reference from the United Nations General Assembly, the Security Council, and its committees. 4, this article is in no way impairs the application of Articles 34 and 35 inter alia.
Okay, so you see here that that is talking about a Pacific settlement and regional arrangements and things of that nature. This is where it comes from, right? This is the United Nations Charter, or Charter of the United Nations, Chapter 6, Pacific Settlement of Disputes, Article 33, right? So it lays out and defines what does it look like to settle a dispute between states. The parties to any dispute, the continuance of which is likely to endanger the maintenance of international peace and security, right? The continuance of disputes can endanger the maintenance of international peace and security. The United Nations is there to make sure that they maintain international peace and security. So it's telling you what you need to do in order to resolve the dispute. So it's saying that shall first of all seek a solution by negotiation, inquiry, mediation, conciliation, arbitration, judicial settlement, resort to regional agencies or arrangements, right? Or other peaceful means of their own choice. So if you resort to a regional agency, that's what the WRC is. The WRC, excuse me, is a regional agency. So we have resorted to a regional agency so that we can be better prepared and better suited to deal with the dispute between Morocco and the United States of America. You see, and that's what's being laid out in the WRC bylaws and convention. What is an arrangement? That's a document that we're reading, right? That's an arrangement. Who was the arrangement between our several Moroccan states? Islam. So that's what this is alluding to. Is chapter 33 of the United Nations Charter. Continue, says the Article 53.
Article 53, Section 1. The Wazir Regional Council, in cooperation with the Security Council of Defense and in harmony with the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization, shall, where appropriate, utilize such regional arrangements or agencies to enforce action under its authority. But no enforcement action shall be taken under regional arrangements or by regional agencies without the authorization of the Wazir Regional Council, with the exception of measures against any enemy state as defined in paragraph 2 of this article, provided for pursuant to Article 107, or in regional arrangements directed against the renewal of aggressive policy on the part of any such state, until such time as the Wazir Regional Council may, on request of the government concerned, be charged with the responsibility of preventing further aggression by such a state or foreign international organization.
Hold on 1 second there. Who's reading, please, may I ask?
Islam, I am Naira Bay, here
And-
at Florida.
It's Islam, sister.
Islam.
How you guys coming along?
We are coming along very well. We have gotten in contact with some of the other brothers that have been forming a state, and we are going to work together. Our inauguration, inshallah, will be in July. We have a meet and greet June 24th, where we'll be engaging with one another and getting to know one another. And we have the seal and our flag.
Interesting. Beautiful. That's how we did. We had a meet and greet prior to having our inauguration as well. We called it the Moorish Mingle. That's what the old Sarah called it. That started with us. I'm just excited to see you all come online with good brother Kirk Palmer Bay. Yes. And I know that he's been in contact with Nova to get further information on things like the Declaration of Independence or the Declaration of Statehood. So yes, Islam. I'm proud of y'all. Keep pushing. Your discipline will pay off. And the reason why I asked who's reading is because you're an excellent read. I'm enjoying the way you read. So great job with that, sister. Continue, please. Thank you.
Islam, gratitude. Am I at 2? Okay. Section 2. The term enemy state, as used in paragraph 1 of this article, applies to any state or intergovernmental organization of a state that causes injury by internationally wrongful acts against any Moorish state in Morocco.
It's in writing as law, as Moroccan law. So we talked about the previous section, spoke about what? An enemy state who has a dispute against one of our Moroccan states, right? So section 2 now goes on to define what an enemy state is. The term enemy state, as used in paragraph 1 of this article, applies to any state or intergovernmental organization, that's the United States, of a state that causes injury by internationally wrongful acts against any Moorish state in Morocco. We can stand on it now. We have legislation or some sort of law on the books how do you make your children wash dishes every night at 8 o'clock if there is no rules posted for them to follow? Right? How do you, if there's no laws that talks about running red lights, how do you get a ticket? First, the legislation comes, then the enforcement of said legislation, right? If it's violated. That's how government works. And it's not an individual process. It's based on an organized rule society, a body politic, a state government, 3 branches, Constitution and a Declaration of Independence. And you don't deposit your Constitution with the Secretary of State of any of the state ofs or with the Library of Congress. You deposit it with the United Nations if you want to fall under international law. Otherwise, you'll just have a charter, which means then you're subjugated to the United States yet again. You're still an American. You never chose between entire submission. Article 54, sister.
Article 54, the Wazir Regional Council shall always be kept fully informed of activities undertaken or in contemplation under regional arrangements or by regional agencies for the maintenance of regional and international peace and security. Chapter 9, International Economic and Social Cooperation, Article 55. With a view to the creation of conditions of stability and well-being which are necessary for peaceful and friendly relations among states based on respect for the principle of equal rights and self-determination of peoples, the Wazir Regional Council shall promote 1, higher standards of living, full employment, and conditions of economic and social progress and development. 2, solutions to international economic, social, health, and related problems, international cultural and educational cooperation. And 3, universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all without distinction as to race, nationality, gender, sex, language, or religion.
Islam, let me make a point here. These are, so this entire document has a ton of, that's my phone. I had to reset the phone because it kicked me out. Has a ton of implied tasks. In other words, work that needs to be done, stuff that needs to be put in place. And this is why we need more and more of our states to come online so that we can all get to work and we can help each other. We need your help to put a lot of these reforms together. All the part of that, it's the administrative aspect of the WRC, right? That needs to be put in motion, set in motion and put in place, which deals with all the different reforms and resolutions, etc. And so we all got to come together on this round table to make sure it happens. We need all the subject matter experts that's available to assist in that process, and anyone who's competent and willing to do the work. And if you're disciplined and have the perseverance to make it past the finish line to establish your states and check the first box to your to decolonization, let's say, which is sovereignty and independence, then you're definitely well equipped to assist within the WRC. So by all means, y'all come online. Knowledge is free at the WRC. That's why we assist for free. Plus, it's your birthright. And then not only that, we're government officials and we're not supposed to accept emoluments anyway. All right, Islam, Article 56.
Article 56, all member states pledge themselves to take joint and separate action in cooperation with the Wazir Regional Council for the achievement of the purpose set forth in Article 55. Article 57, Section 1. The various specialized agencies established by intergovernmental agreement and having wide international responsibilities as defined in their basic instruments in economic, social, cultural, educational, health, in related fields shall be brought into relationship with the Wazir Regional Council in accordance with the provisions of Article 63. Section 2. Such agencies thus brought into a written relationship with the Wazir Regional Council are hereinafter referred to as specialized agencies. Article 58. The Wazir Regional Council shall make recommendations for the coordination of the policies and activities of the specialized agencies. Article 59. The Wazir Regional Council shall, where appropriate, initiate negotiations among the member states concerned for the creation of any new specialized agencies required for the accomplishment of the purposes set forth in Article 55.
It's a lot of
Article-
power we have here. We put things together and it's done by legislation. You put pen to paper. That's where your administrative reforms come from. It's pen to paper, or not just your administrative, all the reforms. It's based in the administration part of it. That's the part. That's the part that the Moors didn't want to take part in. That's, it's a lot of work. That's why Moors just want things handed to them. No, it's not. No, you got to work for it. You got to work for it. Islam, sister, go ahead. Article 60.
Article 60. Responsibility for the discharge of the functions of the convention set forth in this chapter shall be vested in the organs of the Secretariat and in the Economic and Social Council under the authority of the Wazir Regional Council, which shall have for this purpose the powers set forth in Chapter 10, affirming that the preamble of the Act of Algeciras firmly secures the triple principle of economic liberty without any inequality, reaffirming that the Act of Algeciras, Article 105 and 106 firmly secures the Moorish government treaties' right to govern the public services, public works, and public utilities as a means to control the economic and social reforms.
There you go. That's the power of the Act of Algeciras, and it's being invoked within the bylaws of the Wazir Regional Convention. Why? Because that's where we're headed. That's talking decolonization. That's decolonization language right there. Right? So it's a future event that's getting ready to take place as we go through the due process of law of making sure that it happens. Or should I say the due process? Well, the due process of law, right? As we're going through our varying stages of advancement, getting better and better at this. But this document here is like, man, it's like a grenade being thrown at the United States. Go ahead, sister, chapter 10.
Chapter 10, the Economic and Social Council, composition, Article 61. Section 1. The Economic and Social Council shall consist of 54 members of the convention elected by the Wazir Regional Council. 2. Subject to the provisions of paragraph 3, 18 members of the Economic and Social Council shall be elected each year for a term of 3 years. A retiring member shall be eligible for immediate re-election. 3.
So, for example, that's another implied task. For example, what was that? So, implied task, right? So, for example, we're talking here about the Economic and Social Council, right? So, subject to the provisions of paragraph 3, 18 members of the Economic and Social Council shall be elected each year for a term of 3 years. A retiring member shall be eligible for immediate re-election. You see, so we don't even have the Economic and Social Council set up yet. And certainly ain't nowhere near 18 members. But this is where we're going with the WRC, you see? And so eventually we'll be setting that council up within
Question,
the
Noble.
WRC. Yes.
As Sis mentioned 54, can you expand as to why the number or how we come about the number?
On which number? Say it again.
The 54 member, can you explain as to how we come about that number?
Oh, the Economic and Social Council shall consist of 54 members of the convention. I don't know. That's a good question. We gotta, I gotta get back and get that understanding.
Islam, brother.
I appreciate that question. The Economic and Social Council shall consist of 54 members. Because, well, we're not talking about the convention. The convention max will probably be more like around 50, but then there's actually no limit. Because any state that claims to be a Moroccan state can be part of the WRC. However, this is discussing, we're talking about the Economic and Social Council, so we're not even there yet. But that is a fascinating question. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find that out, and then I'll get back to you on the next call. I'm gonna find out what that 54 members is all about. That's a great question. All right, Islam. So I yield on continue system number 3, section 3.
Section 3. At the first election after the increase in the membership of the Economic and Social Council from 27 to 54 members, in addition to the members elected in place of the 9 members whose term of office expires at the end of the year, 27 additional members shall be elected. Of these 27 additional members, the term of office of 9 members so elected shall expire at the end of 1 year, and of 9 other members at the end of 2 years, in accordance with arrangements made by the Wazir Regional Council. 4, each member of the Economic and Social Council shall have 1 representative.
Islam. So you see, this is headed. But it first has to be in writing as a guideline for which way we're going. But that's now that question is gonna bug me as to which one is the reason for 54. I mean, even 18 members, etc. We're gonna dissect that article, and I'll get back to you on that, good brother. Functions and
Functions and powers, Article 62, Section 1. The Economic and Social Council may make or initiate studies and reports with respect to international, economic, social, cultural, educational, health, and related matters, and may make recommendations with respect to any such matters to the Wazir Regional Council, to the member states of the convention, and to the specialized agencies concerned. 2, it may make recommendations for the purpose of promoting respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all. 3, it may prepare draft conventions for submission to the Wazir Regional Council with respect to matters falling within its competence. 4, it may call in accordance with the rules prescribed by the Wazir Regional Council international conferences on matters falling within its competence.
sister, whenever you get tired, or if you get tired, just let me know. We'll get another reader. But if you're good, please continue.
Okay. Article 63, Section 1. The Economic and Social Council may enter into agreements with any of the agencies referred to in Article 57, defining the terms on which the agency concerned shall be brought into relationship with the Inspector General or the Secretariat. Am I saying that correctly?
Secretariat.
Secretariat. Okay.
Secretariat.
With the Inspector General on the Secretariat. Such agreements shall be subject to approval by the Wazir Regional Council. 2, it may coordinate the activities of the specialized agency through consultation with and recommendations to such agencies, and through recommendations to the Inspector General, the Secretariat, and to the Wazir Regional Council. Article 64, Section 1. The Economic and Social Council may take appropriate steps to obtain regular reports from specialized agencies. It may plan arrangements with the member states of the Multilateral Convention and with the specialized agencies to obtain reports on the steps taken to give effect to its recommendations and to recommendations on matters falling within its competence made by the Inspector General and the Secretariat. It may communicate its observations on these reports to the Wazir Regional Council.
So we do have an Inspector General, in case you guys hadn't already mentioned that. His name is Marcus Maymoon El Marzouk. Excellent choice as an Inspector General. Very well experienced. 20 plus years in the military as a what do you call those guys? I think Brother Nasik would be able to help with that.
In
Top secret
military
uh,
intelligence.
military intelligence. There you go.
Don't expose my field, brother.
Islam. And that's who we have as an Inspector General, and he's very serious about the job, and he does an excellent job at holding us accountable and making sure that we do things by the letter of the law, if you will. He is definitely an excellent Inspector General, and we couldn't have anyone better. Continue, sister.
Islam, and I'll pass the mic at Article 70.
Okay, where are we? 64?
No,
65.
65.
Mhm.
Article 65. The Economic and Social Council may furnish information to the Security Council of Defense and shall assist the Security Council of Defense upon its request. Article 66, Section 1. The Economic and Social Council shall perform such functions as falls within its competence in connection with the carrying out of the recommendations of the Inspector General and the Secretariat.
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 Secretariat, yeah.
I'll
Just
get it.
pronounce it as it's written. Secretariat. Mhm.
Secretariat. Okay.
Yeah.
2, it may, with the approval of the Wazir Regional Council, perform services at the request of the member states of the convention and at the request of specialized agencies. Section 3, it shall perform such other functions as are specified elsewhere in the present convention or as may be assigned to it by the Wazir Regional Council. Voting, Article 67, Section 1. Each member of the Economic and Social Council shall have 1 vote. 2, decisions of the Economic and Social Council shall be made by a majority of the members present or hybrid visual voting. Procedure, Article 68. The Economic and Social Council shall set up commissions in economic and social fields and for the promotion of human rights and such other commissions as may be required for the performance of its functions. Article 69. The Economic and Social Council shall invite any member of the convention to participate without a vote in its deliberations on any matter of a particular concern to that member. Article 70. The Economic and Social Council may plan arrangements for representatives of the specialized agencies to participate without a vote in its deliberations and in those of the commissions established by it, and for its representatives to participate in the deliberations of the specialized agencies. I yield.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate that so much. Anyone else want to pick up the read at Article 71? We want to get through this reading as best as possible so we can complete the WRC. I believe it's 111 articles, so we don't have too much more to go. Well, yeah, we do. About 50 something articles or so to go. Anyone want to pick up the read, or do I need to read? Going once, going twice.
I don't mind. Is it allowed?
Yes, I'm asking for anyone else who may want to pick up the mic.
Okay. Article 71. The Economic and Social Council may make suitable arrangements for consultation with non-governmental organizations which are concerned with matters within its competence. Such arrangements may be made with international organizations and, where appropriate, with national organizations after consultation with the member of the convention concerned. Article 72, Section 1. The Economic and Social Council shall adopt its own rules of procedure, including the method of selecting its director. Section 2. The Economic and Social Council shall meet as required in accordance with its rules, which shall include provision for the convening of meetings at the request of a majority of its members. Article 73, this is chapter 11, Declaration regarding foreign dependent chartered states and Indian reservations in Morocco.
Oh, this is a juicy one right here. So it says declaration regarding foreign dependent chartered states. Notice that the word state was spelled with a lowercase, right? Because they're not real states, they're chartered states. And it also involves Indian reservations in Morocco. So several layers of jurisdiction, right? So you got your Indian reservation, then you got the United States of America, and then you got Morocco, the empire, or the United States of Morocco. But it's just Article 73. Let's see what it says.
Okay. Member states of the convention which have or assume responsibilities for the public services, public works, and public utilities over the administration of foreign American states and Indian reservations in Morocco must enact friendly applications and arrangements for dependent chartered states and
Pause right there. Pause right there.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so it says here that we, the member states of the convention, because we assume responsibility over the public services and the public works and the public utilities, right? In the administration of foreign American states and its reservations, correct? So then it goes on to say that we must enact friendly applications and arrangements for dependent charter states and peoples that have not yet attained comprehension of Moroccan law. Very interesting, right? So where do we get that from? Must enact friendly applications and arrangements for dependent charter states. Where does that language come from? Well, there's a rhyme and reason for everything that we do, right? So let me show you guys where that comes from. Where is it? Yeah, right here. The Moroccan Treaty, the Moroccan American Treaty of Peace and Friendship. So one side of the contract is Morocco or the Moroccans, and the other side of the contract are the Americans, which is why we cannot be Moroccan American or Moorish American. You're one or the other. Choose a side. And I would suggest that you choose wisely. Because if you're tired of the cares of the world in America, then you might want to bring your behind back home to Morocco. All right. So where did we get that from? Article 22. What does it say? No, it's not 22. 23. Nope. Is it 24? Is it if any differences shall arise? Okay, right here. 24. Yep, I believe it's 24. Yep. So what does it say? If any differences shall arise by either party infringing on what either party are they referring to? Well, Morocco and the United States. If any differences shall arise between America and Morocco, infringing on any of the articles of this treaty, peace and harmony shall remain notwithstanding. So we're supposed to be in peace and harmony regardless of anything, right? In the fullest force until what? A friendly application shall made for an arrangement, right? And until that application shall be rejected, no appeal shall be made to arms. So it is like a friendly application. A friendly application couldn't be the Constitution. What else could be a friendly application? Well, where were we? The Wazir Regional Council could be a friendly application. It is a document, an application. An application is not limited to a form that you fill out to be a part of something, right? It's a document that's written up. It's a properly written document. That is what a friendly application is. Legislation is also a friendly application. So in this particular case, we're talking about legislation. So we have to write legislation in order to govern the foreign Americans and in their states, their chartered states, dependency upon what? What are they dependent upon? Moroccan law, right? And so are the Indian reservations. Because the Indian reservations is in Morocco and they're under the jurisdiction of America, and America is under the jurisdiction of Morocco. The Indians call the United States of America their great father. So I just wanted to point out where we got the term friendly application and arrangement from the Treaty of Peace and Friendship directly. Islam? All right, continue. Member?
Islam Council.
Yeah.
Nobleman. I just like to quickly point out at the top of the document, the treaty, if you notice, the Morocco is mentioned first on the left.
Yeah.
And America is on the right. And based on, I can't recall what the law is, but that which is on the left, when you face the entity, is superior than that which is on the right. Just want to point out that, or rephrase that quick pointer for those who are new to the call.
Beautiful point. So what is the correct way to fly the flag? So the Moorish flag will usually appear on the left where it says Moroccan, and the US flag will usually appear on the right where it says American. To your point. So when you see a temple where the US flag is flying on the left and the Moorish flag is flying on the right, that's out of order. It's saying that America is over Morocco. What type of temples will you see that at? A temple like the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia, which is not a temple, it's an organization, but you get what I'm saying. Well, great point of interest. Islam. Okay, all right. We'll go back so we can finish up the reading. Where were we? Okay, member states in cooperation, right here.
Member states, in cooperation with the dependent chartered states, shall enact legislative measures as a natural corollary to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples of 2007, inter alia. Member states shall recognize the treaty rights of the Americans to hold property in Morocco pursuant to the Madrid Convention of 1880, Article 11, and in harmony with the Act of, can you help me with that one? Algeciras?
Yes, Algeciras.
Algeciras of 1906, Article 60, inter alia.
So it's saying that the member states, that means that's a Serum or Sakaru, right? Ampani, AMPAG, all of us. We have to recognize and respect their treaty rights to hold property in Morocco. They have the right to hold property in Morocco. It's been given to them by Article 11 of the Treaty of Madrid. So we can't come in all belligerent to them, oh, you got to get up out of here and take their land and take their property and all that kind of stuff. That would go against international law, just cogence, which is a preemptory norm of international law, which deals with human rights and state rights. And so according to Article 11, they have the right to hold property. But it ain't just like, not for free, not without what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Not without some sort of payment, let's just say. Let's just put it that way. I didn't want to say it that way because it sounds greedy, but it's
economical collaboration, economical, correspondence, something of that nature, where we work together.
Well, to be more specific, taxes. They got to pay taxes. It's a whole property. They got to pay those property taxes. So they're allowed to hold property in exchange for revenue and income and taxes. So remember, Roosevelt, in his proclamation in the Act of Algeciras, stated his reasons for the Americans acquiescing and signing on to the Treaty of the Act of Algeciras. It was to hold property, to have the right to hold property is for commerce in Morocco, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, etc. Just wanted to point that out, right? Okay, continue, sister. The provisions.
The provisions of the bilateral Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1786 and 1836, the Multilateral Madrid Convention of 1880, and the Multilateral International Convention of the Act of Algeciras of 1906, inter alia, are still in full force in effect between the parties. Member states accept as a sacred trust the obligation to promote to the utmost within the system of international peace and security established by the present convention, the well-being of the de jure United States of America and its naturalized persons or members of the de facto United States International Organization, and to this end.
Hold that right there. So this is where Moors got to get out of their lower self. Perfectly said, right there. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Moors, we have to come out of our lower selves. We have to come into love instead of hate, right? Hate is the lower self. Love is the higher self. So it says the provision of the bilateral Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the Madrid Convention, the International Convention of the Act of Algeciras, are still in full force and effect between the parties, right? Anyone who is still a signatory power to these treaties. So Great Britain and a lot of these other, all the other Christian nations have backed out of the treaty. The only other nation that's holding on to the treaty is the United States, right? Okay. So then it goes on to say, member states accept as a sacred trust the obligation to promote to the utmost within the system of international peace and security established by the present convention, the well-being of the de jure United States of America and its naturalized persons or members of the de facto United States. So in other words, what we're saying is that we have to treat them with respect, right? We have to allow them to maintain their dignity. However, their dignity does not mean white supremacy either, because racism, white supremacy, all that stuff, that's an illusion. That's a distraction for what's really taking place. And what's really taking place is colonialism. That's what it is. It ain't unum sanctum policies. It's colonialism. It ain't a secret treaty of Verona. It's colonialism. It ain't racism. It ain't the King Alfred plan. It ain't none of that. It's colonialism. So now when we force decolonization and we come back into power and take back control of the empire, we can't now come in and try to behead all the white people, kick them off the land and all this crazy stuff. We have to be in our higher self. We have to be diplomatic about how we deal with them. And that diplomacy is based in the master contract known as the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It starts there. Like I just read, regardless on anything that happens, peace and friendship shall remain notwithstanding. So we have to let go of whatever hatred and fear. If you're in hate, you're in fear. You have to let go of any hatred and fear and any other lower self emotions in order to become a diplomat or a government official that's assisting in decolonization. Because your belligerence or our belligerence won't go well within the international community. We got way too much power. So if we come in and try to violate everything, the rest of the world is going to be paying attention to that. And they're going to say, oh, Lord, they're coming after us next. So then what's going to happen? They're going to come together and they're going to be now a major obstacle for our progress. They're going to come together against us. But if we show diplomacy, if we show competency, if we show that we have emerged into our higher self, that will put everyone off guard. And they would say, well, damn, look how they're dealing with them. Wow, they're competent, they're this, they're that, they're in their higher self, they listen, they learn from Noble. Noble told them love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Right? And that's how they're operating. Wow, they're great. And that's when we now gain allies instead of enemies. And it's going to start with how they perceive or view us on how we treat them, the Americans. So as long as we stick to the treaties, we're going to be all right. Because at the end of the day, we have authority over them anyway. So while you're concerned, and plus kicking them off the land wouldn't be smart because they are the taxpayers, right? We're supposed to be charging them taxes. As I just read about the article with the American legation in Tangier, right? It told you specifically that they're here for commerce. The Sultan allowed them to come here for commerce, for commercial purposes, to create revenues and taxes. So why would we kick them off? So we kick them out, we kick them off the land. Now we don't have the people available to generate the revenues that we seek. Wouldn't make any sense. So let's come to our higher self, Morse. We got to come into diplomacy. We have to come into love instead of hate. That's why the prophet came to teach us to love instead of hate. That's why the prophet had that handshake symbol on his stuff. Right? I've seen some which somewhere it was actually like a melanated hand, but the pale hand, shaking hands. We have to come back into cooperation, treaty of peace and friendship, with us being the ones in control of our vast estate, not the other way around. We got to trade places with them. We got to do it in a competent way, in a diplomatic way. Islam. All right, go ahead, sister, section 1.
To ensure, with due respect for the culture of the American and Indian peoples concerned, their political, economic, social, and educational advancement, their just treatment, and their protection against human rights violations in Morocco. However, it is important to note that Indians shall be subject to the ministerial decrees of Moroccan law under the customs of Erga Omes,
the Amish principles.
Amish principles in Morocco, to take due account of their foreign political institutions, privatized municipalities and associations according to the circumstances of each dependent chartered state, its naturalized persons and Indian reservations in Morocco. 3, to further international peace and security by observing Moroccan law and the customary norms of international law. 4, to promote constructive measures of development between Moorish governments and foreign dependent states and their Indian reservations, to encourage research and to cooperate with one another, and when and where appropriate, with specialized regional and international bodies, with a view to the practical achievement of the social, economic, and scientific purposes set forth in this article. And 5, to transmit regularly to the Moroccan Inspector General and the United Nations Secretary General for information purposes, subject to such limitation as security and constitutional considerations may require, statistical and other information of a technical nature relating to economic, social, and educational conditions in the territories for which they are respectively responsible, other than those territories to which chapters 12 and 13 apply.
Okay, hold that thought. Serum and Umpani. Pay attention. Pay close attention. All right, okay. So this is what? Article 73, isn't it? Declaration regarding 4 independent charter states and Indian reservations in Morocco, correct? Article 73, correct? Okay. Let me bring y'all something. Pay attention. Go ahead to charter again. What chapter was it? Chapter 11. There we go. Okay. So this is what you'll be learning through the WRC, Serum, Umpani, and all the other oncoming states. It's called converting, right? Copy, paste, plug and play. We don't write anything from scratch. Nobody wrote that document from scratch. The convention, the Wazir Regional Convention document was not written from scratch. No one burned up brain cells to write that. What did we do? We copy, paste, plug and play. We converted the United Nations Charter and other documents. So what does it say here in Article 73? This is how you learn on how to write legislation. You copy, paste, plug and play. Now, there's many cases in which you'll write it straight from scratch, but your initial legislation is going to come from copy, paste, plug and play. You're going to take international law, international documents, such as, let's say, the rights of indigenous people, and convert it to your Moroccan law by changing the wordings to make it fit your state. And that's what was done here. So it says here, members of the United Nations, which have or assume responsibilities for the administration of territories whose people have not yet attained a full measures of self-government. So this is the United Nations talking to the colonizing states. Who are the colonizing states? Basically all the other states, right? The Christian powers, you know, Russia, Germany, Great Britain, United States, etc. So this is the United Nations talking to them, right? On behalf of the indigenous peoples, right? Who haven't attained a full measure of self-government yet, right? Who are still under colonialism, correct? So we flipped it on them. So where it says members of the United Nations which have or assume responsibilities for the administration of territories whose peoples have not yet attained a full measure of self-government, right? Okay, so that's what that says. Look at how we converted it. Member states of the convention which have or assume responsibilities for the public services, public works, and public utilities over the administration of foreign American states and Indian reservations in Morocco. Did you guys see that?
Islam.
Right? So as you continue, you'll see that this, it's the entire document. But we'll skip over to, let's say, 4, or should I say 5? Let's skip over to 5. Look at what it says on 5, right? So section 5, which here would be section E. To transmit regularly to the Secretary General for information purposes, subject to such limitations as security and constitutional considerations may require statistical and other information of a technical nature relating to economic, social, and educational conditions in the territories for which they are respectively responsible, other than those territories to which chapters 12 and 13 apply. Again, that's the United Nations talking to the colonizing states on behalf of the indigenous peoples. But then that's us as the de jure authority speaking to how
What
we're going to
interest?
deal with them. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, wouldn't that be the receiving state according to the decolonization rules?
Referring to as the receiving state.
We or the WRC would be the receiving state.
Yeah, we are the host nations, but not the WRC. The WRC itself is
organization, right? That would be representing the host of the receiving states.
I mean, like if all of our AMPAG constituents traveled to Ante, New York, Apollonie's jurisdiction, you would become the host nation or the receiving state, and AMPAG would be the sending state. If y'all come over here into our jurisdiction, you would be the sending state, and we will be the receiving state. So you see what this document says now: to transmit regularly to the Moroccan Inspector General and the United Nations Secretary General for information purposes, subject to such limitations as. Now, why do we report it also to the United Nations Secretary General? Because everything that we do dealing with the United States, we want the United Nations to also know, because they are the third-party referee.
Disputes. All right.
If there's any disputes, we got a paper trail to use against them. For information purposes, subject to such limitations as security and constitutional considerations may require, statistical and other information of a technical nature relating to economic, social, and educational conditions in the territories for which they are respectively responsible, other than those territories to which Chapter 12 and 13 apply. This is how you guys will learn how to convert international law to become now Moroccan law legislation of your state. Islam. So look forward to that lesson, Morris. All right. 74. What time is it? Okay. We got, let's say another 5 minutes, and then we'll close out. Go ahead, sisters. Chapter 7, Article 74.
Member states of the convention also agree that their policy in respect of the territories to which this chapter applies, no less in respect of their metropolitan areas, must be based on the general principle of good neighborliness, due account being taken of the interests and well-being of the region and the rest of the world in social, economic, and commercial matters. Okay.
Yeah, hold that right there. I don't know if we should get into this one yet. I think we should wait till next week. Let's see. This is a juicy one. It's pretty long too. I think we should wait till next week.
I second that.
Let's wait till next week. We'll hold this. He said I second that. We'll hold this for next week. This is a good one. This is an awesome chapter, regional trusteeship system. This is yet another implied task. This is, and so we got to do things in sequential order, and we also got to do things based on priority, right? So for example, the Economic and Social Council doesn't have priority over the regional trusteeship system, or the regional trusteeship council. Actually, it's a council that I've got to put together. I got to bring more together, and I got to put together the regional trusteeship council, because as a quick insight as to what this chapter is all about, which is 2 chapters. It's chapter 12 and I believe chapter 12 and chapter 13. Let's look at it real quick. This chapter deals with non-self-governing territories. So, for example, the brother Lamont L. Lamont L is currently being held in Maryland. I'm trying to, okay, see. So chapter 13 is the regional trusteeship council in session. So that's the other section to it. So the good brother Lamont L is currently being held in Maryland. I'm not sure which jail, whatever county. The point is that Maryland is a non-self-governing territory, meaning that there is no Moors who have been established a state there. So what the regional trusteeship council would do, or how they serve the people, is we would go into those territories and help bring those Moors into statehood. So then now their state can now go and go in defense of Lamont L to get him out with the assistance of the WRC. So in other words, we're taking on a limited jurisdiction or authority over the non-self-governing territory. So you can think of the WRC as like the queen on the chessboard. We can go any and everywhere on the board, right? There's no limit to the way she can move, other than she can't jump over other pieces, right? Like the knight can. Well, same thing with the WRC. The WRC can cross the borders on a limited fashion, but we can still cross the borders nonetheless. to assist Moors in those non-self-governing territories. And that's what this is about. That's what we'll be talking about next week when we'll continue with the reading. Unless Islam, yeah, it's an open forum for everyone, so that you can be aware of what's going to take place, whether I'm going to have it or not, or or just regular information, other things we discuss, discussions there. This is where we had a discussion about the American thing, so that's why I felt compelled to put together that presentation to disprove the idea that we're Americans. We're not. So, so that ends the read for the night. I'll yield the floor for questions, comments, and concern before we close out. Islam, I yield. Crickets?
Islam, this is Brother Yahya Abdul Rahim Bey. Is it possible to put that link in the chat for the Telegram group? It said you said AMPAG Media.
Yep.
But when I search for AMPAG Media, it doesn't come up.
Okay, let me see if I can do that. Post it in the chat. Good point.
Islam.
It's posted on the. It's in the chat. So anyone who's in, just click the chat, go to the chat, click on that link, and you'll be part of the group. Serum and Aplani, real quick. May I ask? I forgot to ask when you guys will your public inauguration be available for the public and the world to see? Your public that would be considered your the promulgation of your public inauguration. Promulgation is the promotion of your inauguration. That's what promulgation is, right? Promulgating is promoting. So when will your public inaugurations go live?
Islam, this is Wazir from Serum, Aziz Hano Bay. Our YouTube is already up and live for our inauguration.
Oh, so it's already been posted?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Islam. Did you post the link in the chat so everyone can go by and take a look at it?
Absolutely. It's up. Skaru State Republic. It's actually live. Yes.
Okay, great. Post it in chat if you don't mind, and then also post it in the Telegram, in the AMPAG Media Telegram, if you don't mind, bro.
I can. Yes, indeed.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, Islam, brother. So, yeah, as far as Anthony, it's actually going through its final rendition and its editing. So it should be early this week. Actually, we should have it. The YouTube channel is up, so it should be posted, early this week.
Okay, perfect. As soon as it get posted, brother, if you don't mind, post it in the Telegram. That's what the Telegram is for, so that we can keep each other informed. It's not just about the classes; it's also the states that's coming online, your states, your seals, and all that stuff posted on there. Have conversations. It's a congregation. It's a congregation platform for our Moroccan states.
Definitely was the intent. As soon as we get the final rendition, definitely is the intent.
Look forward to it, good brother. Look forward to it. Bro, Kendon, Wazir Kendon, speak on it, brother. You're putting your text, you're putting messages in the Telegram in the chat. Speak on it, brother.
Islam. I put it in the chat. It's a statehood Telegram group. It's for Moors looking to start a state. So you really can just share the link and they can meet each other there from different territories. I'm also start posting some content in there as well. Islam, you did good too, Chairman.
I appreciate that, good brother. Thank you much. The day will come when the Wazir Regional Council is going to be 50 states deep. excuse me, keeping in mind that it doesn't require 50 states for us to force decolonization. We can do it with the current states right now. So right now we've got 6 with 2 forward. When I say 6 within the WRC who has been recognized, with 2 more soon to be on board, a part of it, which would be Serum and Aponi that we're talking about right now. I would make 8, right? But see, Serum is number 7. So that closed that first cycle, circle 7. So at the first state to start the new will be Apani, right? So there'll be state number 1 in the new cycle, 1 of 8, but there'll still be 8 states. You know, it's, you know, Morris science, baby. We apply Morris science to everything, you know, so Islam. So yeah, so Apani, you guys also Serum ends the first cycle, and Apani starts the new cycle, which just happens to be, I just love pointing it out, but it just happens to be the United Nations territory. Well, not their territory, but they're in that territory, which is Apani's jurisdiction. Their now jurisdiction. See, under OT Positidatus Juris, and based on your constitution and your Declaration of Independence, you have reclaimed that territory as a succession state to colonialism. You have reclaimed it. Now what we're doing is going through the process, the due process of making our Moroccan law stick against the colonists. Because see, what Moore's got to understand is that we're not seeking their recognition. We care less about their recognition. And we certainly don't seek recognition from the United Nations, because the United Nations cannot give recognition as an organization. And when we say an organization, get the whole 501c3 thing out of your head. The United Nations is not under the American laws or American jurisdiction. That's 501c3s is an American thing. The United Nations is an international organization, no different than the WRC, which is an international organization, and it wasn't established under the United States or any 501c3. It was established based on the bylaws, the document that we just read, the convention. The convention itself is what establishes it, not going and get a 501c3. So we're not seeking recognition from anyone other than our own several. That's the power of our recognition. As it relates to the United States, where the fight, the battle here is to get our Moroccan laws to stick against the United States, as directed to us by the International Court of Justice judges in the France versus United States case. And on page where it says that Morocco, as long as constitutional court is being exercised, the United States and their nationals must obey by Moroccan law, and in that way, and in that way only. So now Moroccan constitutional court now is being as a natural corollary, right, to our states being enacted. And so now we can hold them accountable to Moroccan law. But if our constitutional court, depending on the dispute, right, whatever dispute that may take place, if our constitutional court does not prevail, meaning that they're still rejecting the orders that's coming from constitutional court, that's when now we kick into the next gear. And that's where we go and we petition the United Nations to bring in now the International Court of Justice. They come after. We got to work our Moroccan courts first. And if that doesn't prevail, we bring in the referee to settle the dispute. If that comes to happen, they're going to lose at the ICJ without a doubt. They know it, we know it. And once that judgment comes out, now they would have to abide by Moroccan law. Or they may settle out of court and just acquiesce. But either way, that's the battle. That's the fight that we're in. Not an individual process to get out of tickets. It is a culmination of states known as erga omnes parties coming together to seek resolution for a dispute that exist between Morocco and America. And that dispute, if it doesn't go resolved, or if it goes unanswered, it now becomes a threat to international peace and security. You see? So the United Nations and ICJ are obligated to settle this matter, but we have to come correct. We have to have the documentary evidence. This is the reason why Article 73 of the Charter, paragraph or section E, talks about transmitting with the United Nations Secretary General. That's creating your paper trail so that now when the International Court of Justice adjudicate the case, they can have access to the documentation that proves that the United States is still continuing their exercise of extraterritorial jurisdiction in Morocco. And bam, we got him. So just for clarity, that's the battle, is to get our Moroccan laws to stick against the United States, not gaining recognition from the United States. It's a big difference. Islam?
Point of privilege. And I also want to add, is certain regional councils, such as the WRC, those certain councils or organs of the government have to be set in place for the exchange of power to take place. Because this is a big thing that we're doing. So we can't say we want to supervise the empire and we don't have the certain mechanism set in place to say, okay, well, hey, we have a state bank, to do commerce for the citizen. If that's not there, then it makes it more harder to exchange of powers, or just to say, you're ready for full power or the whole governance of the empire. With that, I yield.
Wazir? Any other points of interest or questions, comments?
Yeah, Islam, brother. Almost to camelback off of the brother what just made that statement. And as far as the states and even the ones that are coming online today, how was it being received based upon the states that's already been promulgated and online with the chartered political municipal states, as far as diplomatic relations in judicial orders, or just even greet and meet, as far as officials' capacity and official duties? Can you
There hasn't been any meet and greet, and there hasn't been any correspondence with them. Or should I say, well, there was correspondence with them, meaning that we've sent them documents, court orders, things of that nature. But they, up until this point, they haven't responded to it, right? They haven't sent us any letters. They just falling back. They're just sitting still, if you will, right? They're not recognizing the consular court orders yet. They're just sitting still. They're not coming after us either, right? They're not messing with us. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting still. So we got to keep pushing. We got to keep our foot on the pedal, right? We got to keep pushing forward. We got to keep sending them documents, keep sending them things. Currently, in an ex parte conversation with brother Kazi, we'll have a discussion about something that is indeed taking place. That I'm not going to put out in the public yet.
Gotcha.
But there is something that's taking place that's very interesting, and we'll discuss that with you and the wazir, your wazir as well, or your entire state, and as well as Durham. Everyone else from the WRC are aware of it. But this is as we know in government, certain information is sensitive, and you don't just put out everything, right?
Islam.
And so now that you guys have put the boxes, I think that you guys are now would be allowed to gain insight as to what I'm talking about.
Right.
And so we will talk about that at some point soon, between your states and Sarah.
Islam. I just think it's just encouraging and reaffirming for those states that are coming online that that what we are doing is being observed and respected. And
Oh, yes, sir.
the not only that those you know what they say, our official and our what they say, our private side is also respected and you know and protected, because that's you know the surety or the security in the pursuance when we're dealing with these international affairs on those sides. So you know it's just reaffirms and security for those that are coming online, and I'm sure that this you know post will be going out, you know, just to reaffirm them Islam. And that's just based upon the rhetoric and everything else that you know comes with you know taking on these responsibilities and duties for the service of the people. Islam, I yield.
And I want to add to that, when you mention insurance and surety, what do you think as a state government now? So now we're outside of where we have grown up, right? We have become adults. We have put our pants up and we pulled our dresses up, right? So now in this new status of yours, what would be your assurance and surety as a state official, or should I say as a state? What brings what establishes your assurance and your surety? What would you think? The legislation.
Constitution.
Well, that's legislation. The
Yep.
Constitution is the first piece of legislation, but your ongoing legislation. See right now, you guys. So Sarum and Apani have completed the first box, which is sovereignty and independence. You established your state. The next step now is your phase 2, which is integrity of domains. That's why when Moors talk about the money, you can't talk about the money because you first got to go through sovereignty and independence and then integrity of domains first. Once those two things are laid out, then the next step is economic liberty without any inequality. You can't jump the gun. So right now you guys are dealing with phase 2, which is sovereignty, the integrity of your domain, right? So how do you establish the integrity of your domains? That will be your laws. This is where now you got to accede to all the treaties so that you can become now member states or parties to these several treaties and international documents and agreements that affords you further protections, such as the diplomatic relations or Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, and consular relations, right? These are the things that's giving you diplomatic immunities.
Islam.
Right. Well, you cannot have diplomatic, and you can't. So when Moore said I got diplomatic immunity, this is why, with all due respect, when the good brother Lamont L was apprehended, he kept saying I got diplomatic immunities. Was it him or was it another video that I saw? Perhaps it was no, he was saying that he was a consul general. Someone else, there was another video that I saw someone saying that I got diplomatic immunities, I've got diplomatic immunities, and they just ignored it and took him to jail. Could that happen to one of us at this stage? Maybe, but there is a difference with us and the Moorish American. See, if they ignore us letting them know that we have diplomatic immunities and they proceed with their criminality, they're just making things bad for themselves, because now they're really violating international law, because we really do have diplomatic immunities, because we have established the states and have acceded to those treaties, meaning that we have become parties to it, which means now we are now obligated to those treaties. But for an individual person to say I've got diplomatic immunity, the world would laugh at you, because number one, you're just an individual, and number two, you didn't accede to the treaties. You didn't become parties to the treaties or that convention or that specific international agreement. So that's why acceding to the treaties is part of the integrity of your domains, because it's solidifying the protections of your state and your government officials and your nationals. Keeping in mind too that you'll be getting certain consular court orders as well to send out, one of which comes with a list of protected persons. So all the people that's within your state, the government officials, etc., they go on this list: their name, their nom de guerre, their date of birth, and their social security number, and it gets notified by we notify the United States, the governor, etc., and we send a copy to the United Nations. You also have privileges and immunities, a privileges and immunities list that you must notify them, right? Which includes your family members, people that lives in your household, anyone in your household fall under those same privileges and immunities.
Islam, can I ask something?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I wanted to know with impact and what we got going on. How are we necessarily parties to the treaties if we haven't received any correspondence with the United Nations? Or is that two separate things? And I'm getting it confused.
If I understand your question, and I'm not sure. I don't think you're getting it confused. I just don't think that you understand the process. First of all, who am I speaking with? I'm not sure if you're part of a state.
I'm Tut Castillo L. Bay. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida. We're attempting to get things set up down here in the Florida region.
Are you working with Kirk Palmer Bay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent, excellent. All right, so to answer your question, you become party to the treaties by going through the instructions and the process of acceding to the treaties. So how do you accede to the treaties? You got to fill out what's called first of all, you got to go to a specific section of the United Nations. It's called the treaty section or the treaty portal. And they give you all the instructions on how to accede to a treaty. So you would download two documents. One is a full powers documents and the other one is an essential documents straight from the United Nations. The full powers document is giving is literally your head of state giving the full powers to your minister of foreign affairs to accede to the treaties, right? So that document has to be filled out and deposited with the United Nations. Then the next step is you download. Now you can do this all at once or one at a time. We did it all at once. You download the other template, which is the accession documents, which is a template that comes from the United Nations. And you've got to fill in the blank lines. And you put in those blanks, for example, the treaty that you're acceding to, the name of the state, etc. You just fill in the blanks. And what do? You deposit it with the United Nations. That's it.
Yes,
It doesn't say anything about the United Nations responding back to you saying, okay, you're part of the treaties or anything like that. No, you just deposit it and you keep moving. You're part of the treaties now. And you keep that on your record. So you can show and prove to the world that, oh, I've ceded to the treaties and I followed the exact instructions that was laid out in the treaty section of the United Nations. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. All right. Appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Confidence in knowing that you would have, because see, a lot of times we're thinking that we need a response from someone to make something so, and that's not necessarily the case. Keeping in mind again that the United Nations is simply an organization which they don't necessarily have authority over our states. Islam. Sounds like someone else is about to say something.
Islam, I want to say something. This is Wazir Aziz Hano Bey out of Serum. I want to just add this to the end of the call. I don't know if anyone has anything else to add to this, but I would encourage everyone who hasn't started studying international law, which you should join the AMPAG study sessions and just sit down and just go through the classes one at a time, because most of the time the questions that people ask are already answered in the class, but you have to get full understanding or overstanding by going through the class, taking notes, and then you'll be as competent as officer on this call. But so I would just encourage everyone to get their 100 hours by sitting down and just studying. Period.
Islam. Excellent point of interest.
Islam, I want to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this Dim. I want to add to that. He had asked the question about the states and what they're doing now, and far as them quote unquote recognizing, and like he said, like you got to watch the video, but the answers be already answered. So, my mufti when we first got our diplomatic place, my mufti got arrested. We understood international law. We understood diplomatic community. We know they're not supposed to mess with us. Cool. But in the instance, he got pulled over. Other officials had they place on, but no one got pulled over but him. So we came back. We had a couple meetings. So we came to the conclusion that we're supposed to have specific legislation as well as give them pictures to go with the legislation of
Proper,
the
proper
other
notice.
place. Exactly. And like I said, we had the authority to do it, but it wasn't all the way proper. But just the experience of it, when you ask about the response, like you just have to experience and you will know. I can't really just give the experience of me riding with diplomatic plates and the response that I get from other agencies or officials or other citizens is kind of hard to give that feeling to you for you to see it, because I can tell you all day, but you still have your post-traumatic stress of what you went through with the colonists. You know what I'm saying? So you have to experience and see it yourself. But I can't say it is real, and that's a legislative process, from the top down, and we ride with the plates. And I feel like I know every agency in Texas, they know, so it's like the first step, and we just have to keep moving with legislation until this world comes all the way full circle.
Islam on that, brother. And I definitely understand what you're saying, especially dealing with the private side of things, dealing with this corporate US. It's the same thing, so as long as you put, certain parties on notice, because that's all it really is notice, then, that's when you exercise any rights of will or any free passage you choose to do. But it is about that diplomatic, correspondence that how you build that protection for yourself and anything that you're doing in life.
I would like to add to that in saying, as the correspondence is done through document stated wise, it is recommended too that even though these matters are in-house matter, I think it eliminates any confrontation by having an illustration of whatever tag has been used by the official on the government website. So it is made known nation as well as internationally. Islam.
And someone put in the chat a question. He says, so you just putting them on notice? Yes. That's exactly right. You put them on notice.
With the proper written instrument. That's the key. You got to be the proper written instrument.
Islam.
Actually, so you deposit it. So that's the correct term for it. But it's putting them on notice when you deposit it with them. And then you also turn around and you deposit it or put the same documents. You use those same documents that you deposited with the United Nations. You put the United States, the president and the governor of the state that you're reclaiming, put them on notice as well, etc. The Secretary of State, Attorney General. To close out, I'll close out with this. Based on the conversation that we're having, I'm going to give you guys a quick brief on what's really taking place. So listen closely, especially the new states coming online. There's something called customs and usage, which we've already discussed, right? There are accustomed to and used to our acquiescence of Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid. So as we just discussed earlier, Article 15, right? There's two paragraphs. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2. Paragraph 1 is for your salvation. Paragraph 1 is the ruling that's saying that you must come back home to Morocco. Come out of the American jurisdiction into the Moroccan jurisdiction. Paragraph 2 says that if you don't do that, then the laws of the country will apply to you without any restrictions. This is where they get the lawful and legal authority to do as they please with us, because we haven't chosen to go back to Morocco. You remain naturalized and subjugated under American jurisdiction, their civil and criminal jurisdiction. So they're used to that. So for the past, 1880 to 2023, however many years that is, there has not been not one ruling or any case laws dealing with paragraph 1. There's tons of rulings and case laws dealing with paragraph 2. Right? Paragraph 2 deals with quote unquote black people going to jail. But there's never been any disputes or concerns regarding paragraph 1. Today, Moors have chosen between entire submission. That has created a whole new status within the so-called American jurisdiction, which is really outside of the American jurisdiction. They created a whole new status for the United States to deal with, put it that way. They're used to your status as paragraph 2, acquiescing and being under the subjugation and the jurisdiction. So now that Moors have chosen between entire submission, there is no case laws, there is no situation in which the United States and the competent Moors who have established their states have had any type of run-ins. What am I saying here? Please listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in our eyes, as the colonized people, they have been criminal. But they have not been criminal in the eyes of international law. They are innocent in the eyes of international law. Why am I saying that? Because international law states that everything that they've been doing is based on paragraph 2 of the Treaty of Madrid. Now, the day will come when perhaps they may try to violate your state rights. Now we have case law for paragraph 1, the new status. So now we can say that they have trespassed. We now can say that they will no longer be alleged criminals. They will now be criminals because they're violating paragraph 1. We have chosen between entire submission, and from the date of our public inauguration and from the date of our Declaration of Independence, you, United States or any other colonists, shall now not only respect the treaty rights of the Moors, but you shall also fall under the jurisdiction and the authority of these Moroccan states. That's the battle. Article 1, the new status. We've been used to dealing with the old status, which is the acquiescence under paragraph 2. Now that we have chosen between entire submission and we have come back into Morocco, that's a new status that they don't have any authority over. But if they try to still exercise their authority and their extraterritorial criminality over our Moroccan states, now we can take them to court because now we have the documented evidence that they're exercising extraterritoriality. Do you guys understand? Did you understand what I was saying? Was I clear? Do I need to clear it out, clarify it any further? Is there any questions as to what I just said?
100% clarity.
It's wrong. That's what's going on, Moors. We're dealing with a new status. A status of true de jure nationals that have chosen between entire submission as it relates to that ruling of 1880, Article 15, paragraph 1. This is the battle. And no one said it was gonna be easy, but we damn sure ain't gonna lose. Islam. So this was another excellent class again. I look forward to them next week to go ahead and complete finish off the reading. So now I'll be talking about the trusteeship council of the Wiser Regional Convention. So with that said, Moors, may you all have a excellent evening, right? And may the blessings of Allah be upon you all. And by the way, we are not Americans. We are Moroccans. Proud
Islam.
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 Peace and love and prosperity, everybody. Islam.
Peace and love, everyone.
Peace and love.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam.